particle board is a good option for home decorating because it's relatively cheap. However, it can easily get scratched, chipped, dinged, and it's vulnerable to water damage. But today, we're going to make this one look brand new. Before you paint your furniture, you're going to want to sand it first until all of the gloss or shine is gone. This is going to make sure that the primer is able to absorb into it and properly adhere to the piece. Sanding creates a lot of dust, so you're going to want to use a lint-free cloth to clean that up. Before we move on to the next step, I'm cleaning mine with water mixed with ammonia because that's what my primer manufacturer recommended that I use. As with any other time that I'm using chemicals, I'm making sure to be in a well-ventilated area. So today, we're out here on my deck enjoying the beautiful day. The next step is to repair any damage using filler and a putty knife. Depending on your piece of furniture, you might have to change a badly damaged section of particle board. I'm ready to start priming. I'm using a 2-inch sash brush instead of a roller because this makes it easier to get into all the crevices and corners. Today I'm using Zinsser Primer. It's an excellent product and it really gets into the surface and allows your final paint to bond really well. I know that this adds some time to your project, but it's definitely a step that you don't want to skip. Once I get this all primed, I plan to let it dry for 24 hours because I really want to make sure the primer is cured before I get my final coat of paint on. Now that our primer is dry, we're going to lightly sand the surface to make it nice and smooth. And you can actually do this step between every coat of paint. And just like we did before, after sanding, you want to use a lint-free towel to remove any dust before moving on to the next step. Once you get the lid off of the can, it's important to stir up the paint well before you pour it into your container. Make sure you don't overfill your container because you need to have some room for your roller here to be out of the paint. On these kinds of large flat surfaces, I like to use a 4-inch high-density foam roller, but I always keep my 2-inch sash brush handy because it's so great at getting into the crevices and the inside corners. I like to do a second coat, but in some cases, even a third coat comes in handy in really making a professional finished product. Also, if you want to get it very smooth, remember to lightly sand in between coats. And it's done! It's important to let the paint cure after the final coat. Paint hardens as it dries, making it more durable and less likely to stick to any items that you place on top of it. If you can wait a few days or really even a week, that would be best.